Yo, how you doing? I know I'm super late on these topics, but I wanted to talk about them regardless. The concerning developer radio and the underwhelming 3.5 special program. I'm gonna start with the developer radio. The quantity of the content in the radio itself was already pretty low, and the quality wasn't any better in my opinion. The important announcement was that we're getting a new endgame content that requires you to run 3 teams to tackle it. Now, this is slightly concerning for me, who doesn't spend that much money in the game. Matter of fact, I actually haven't spent any money in the game lately, so getting a functioning third team would be a bit of a challenge. But even putting aside my broke ass trying to keep up with the endgame, the concept of a third team in Star Rail is odd to me regardless, in the sense that there's not really a lot of options right now. We've always heard the term, "This support is so universal, they can work with so many units." But on the flip side of that, if you have that support in one team, you can't use them in another. So the various units who are attached to that support are equally locked out. Let me explain. Tribi has been dubbed one of the most universal supports as of making this video, since she's not only so powerful herself, she can also work with quite literally every single DPS archetype in the game, even the break teams to a certain extent. But usually her main use is to be paired with fellow HP scaling units. For the sake of this example, I'm gonna use Castris. Let's say your Castris team consists of Tribi, RMC, and Hysilens. This means that in your other teams, you can't effectively run units like Mayday, Jinglu, or Blade, since they would also require units like Tribi and Hysilens to support them too. With Tribi out of the question, the next support that's known to be very strong is Robin. To be completely fair, there's also a lot of DPS that works really well with Robin, namely the attack scalers, even if they're not of the follow-up category. Let's say that in this case, your second team that uses Robin as a support is a Finon team. So that'll be something like Finon, Robin, Sunday, and Bronya. Technically speaking, at this point, there are no more universally accepted strong supports like Robin and Tribi. The team options that we have left are the ones whose strong suit is that they don't use these commonly used supports, such as Akron, DOT, and Break. And even then, technically speaking, both Akron after E2 and DOT would like to use Robin and or Tribi. Luckily though, I did hear that even E2 Akron can still run 2 Nihilities if you use the right ones, and it shouldn't be too bad. And apparently DOT is shaping to be a triple DOT setup rather than the usual 2 DOT units and a Harmony. One thing for sure, Break is the only team so far that quite literally doesn't use any mainstream support lineup. So if you still have one up and running, that's at least one less team to think about. Now, a common argument against this that I can imagine happening is, "Oh well, actually, the 3-team part of the fight isn't super hard, so you don't have to run optimized teams." And to that I say, yeah, you're probably right. In the beginning. Back in the early days of Pure Fiction, a lot of players probably weren't really ready to tackle pure AoE based contents. But the stage was set so that we could always run the Himurda team for one side. And not only that, they were willing to make the stage buffs work in the way that so that even hunt units were able to clear Pure Fiction. Point is, I wouldn't judge the actual difficulty of this game mode during the first few versions of it, cause it's likely that they'd make it easier at first to compensate for the players adapting to the third team requirement. But even with all that being said, there is a silver lining in all of this. According to the radio, this game mode won't be giving out Jades as rewards. So even if you can't clear this, even if you can't make a third team with your roster, you practically won't be missing anything worthwhile. At most, there'll be some cosmetic items. If I were to look at what they did with Genshin, the cosmetic items is probably not even a permanent item. Now, I genuinely hope that this isn't the case. The temporary cosmetics idea is so horrendously terrible, I don't understand why they thought players wouldn't be mad at it. But regardless, it's cosmetics, it's nothing to be worried about. Now let's move on to the 3.5 special program. Funnily enough, just like the developer radio, the quantity and quality of content in the special program was equally lacking, once again in my opinion. The special program had nothing that was out of the expectations. We know that there's gonna be continuation of the story, we know there's gonna be 2 new units, and we know that there's gonna be an event along the way. I know that technically we were also given a teaser for more new units in the form of March and Danheng, but they were supposed to be teased much earlier before the livestream anyway. They were supposed to be the subjects of the drip market that comes out before the livestream, so that was somewhat expected as well. But I guess I get why they wanted to delay it until after the livestream. Regardless, the stream was bare bones. I was hoping for more quality of life updates, or more importantly, more unit buffs. Emphasis on the unit buffs. Ever since they announced that they are buffing old units, of course as a Sele enjoyer myself, I long for the days that Sele gets the buffs that she deserves. But if I had to take a guess, I think I might know why Sele specifically isn't getting it yet, aside from the fact that some people are actually still getting clears with her. If I were to look at the currently buffed DPSs, it is a good time to send them out since they fit extremely well with the latest roster updates and the banner lineups. Tribi and Hysilens, being a very popular support and sustain options, work extremely well with the buffed Jinglu and Blade. Not to mention the Sunday rerun was the cherry on top. Then there's Kafka, who looks to be the key unit of DOT in the time being, alongside Hysilens. My guess is Sele will probably get a buff when that new 3-team endgame content comes out, and when we have our next top tier support unit as the cornerstone of that 13. No, I don't think Cerydra is gonna be that unit. And while we're on it, let's talk about the units revealed in the livestream, starting with Hysilens. Honestly, she's very simple. She's a DOT unit, and Kafka just got buffed. DOT is looking to be a staying archetype rather than the dead one we had before. And I think it's also good that they're approaching a full DOT core rather than a Harmony reliant one, so that they can be a standalone option for that 3rd team slot in the new game mode. While I myself isn't exactly excited for the new DOT core, this does set a new precedent going forward. If the devs wanted to bring back an old unit and or archetype, they can and they will, whether by directly buffing that old unit and or introducing a new one. And since I'm a firm believer that Break isn't a complete archetype yet, I can cope that we are still gonna get updates for it in the future. They are already willing to dedicate an entire Battle Pass flight cone for the archetype, so I'm sure they'll do more in the future. Next is Cerydra. As of making this video, there's not much info on Cerydra outside of what we got in the livestream and a couple of official posts. There's no creator server videos yet because she's not in the first half of the patch, but we can go off the little that we do know. She's a hyper carry buffer. She can buff attack and speed with a side of crit damage and rest pen. Her main gimmick is that she can make a unit use their skill twice. I know if I leave it at that, it sounds super underwhelming, but that's because it kinda is. Her gimmick is supposed to be used to duplicate a special skill that you can't actually spam every turn. The prime example of this is Finon's Enhanced Meteor. Usually you can see this skill once you built up enough of his special SP, but with Cerydra, it seems that you can essentially fire off 2 Enhanced Meteor back to back without having to charge up the second one. As good as this does sound for someone like Finon, in reality, I don't think she'll be that much valuable for literally anyone else. You can say things like, oh, she's not that far off from the better option, but to that I say, why not just get the better option? With how Hysilens and Cerydra are looking to be low priority pulls for a lot of players, and there's nothing more than a mere story continuation and a dinner dash event, I guess, I wanna say that 3.5 is looking to be a very chill patch for a lot of people. Or not, maybe I'm actually in the minority here. But I personally don't see that much value in this patch outside of DOT and Finon names. Not to mention, in the next patch right after, we're getting Dark March, and another downhang form. Personally, these next two patches are gonna be super boring, but on the flip side, I get to use this filler time to stock up on Jades since I burned through my stash on Saber's banner. If you guys want my full opinion based on what you have in your roster, feel free to ask me down in the comments, but for now, that's about it. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like, comment down your thoughts, feedbacks are greatly appreciated and I'll be reading through them. If you want to see more of me, consider hitting the subscribe button, it's free. I'll be doing more of these Yap videos in the future. Now take a sip of water and have a good day.